10, 11, and 12 tell us to simplify a ratio of polynomials. Again, when they use the word ratio, they're really just talking about a fraction because a ratio is comparing two things. If I'm going to simplify a fraction, I can cancel out my common factors. So when I'm thinking about factoring, the first thing I want to look for is there a greatest common factor? That's what we did first when we did factoring. Well, if I look at the top three terms, they don't have anything in common. But if I look at the bottom two terms, both of those two things are divisible by 2. So I'm going to start by starting with the bottom, and I'm going to divide the 2 out of each of those. So if I take the 2 out of v squared, I get a v squared. If I divide 50 by 2, I get 25. So now I have this problem. I took out my greatest common factor on the bottom because that's the only place I had one. Now I'm going to factor my quadratic expression, my squared ones. So on the top, I'm going to factor that. Factors of v squared, v and v. The end is negative, so a plus and a minus. Factors of 15, I want a minus 2. Most likely it's 5 times 3, right? Since I want a minus 2, I need a minus 5 and a plus 3. Minus 5 plus 3 is minus 2 in the middle. On the bottom, I'm still going to have this 2, but then I'm going to factor the quadratic expression that's in the parentheses. Now that's one of those they call the special case. You may or may not remember it as being special, but notice there's not a v in the middle. It's the difference of perfect squared. When we factored it, we still kind of thought the same thing. Factors of v squared, v and v. Since the end was negative, a plus and a minus. The factors of 25 that give us 0 in the middle. Since it's a perfect square, we're going to use a plus 5 and a minus 5 because plus 5 and minus 5 is 0 in the middle. So what happens here when you factor is that one of your pairs happens to be the same. Since it's a fraction, we can say, oh, I'm going to cancel that out of there then. So my answer, as simplified as I can do it, is I have a v plus 3 on the top, and I have 2 times v plus 5 on the bottom. Now on the top, you really don't need the parentheses anymore since it's not times anything. On the bottom, you do because you have to take 2 times that. But we're not going to multiply by the 2. We're just going to leave it in factored form. And so we're going to put it in, and so it looks like that. So number 11, if we look at that, looking at the top part of that, first thing I want to look for, is there a greatest common factor I can divide into all 3 of those terms? 5. So I'm going to start by taking the 5 out, just because it makes my other factoring a lot easier because my numbers aren't so big then. So if we divide the 5 out of each of those, we would get
v squared.
v squared
minus 8. No. I have to use my calculator.
That's all right. We'd rather get the right number than a guess and have it wrong.
12.
12v
minus 12v and plus 35.
35. All right. Now if we look at the bottom of that fraction, there we don't have a greatest common factor. We can't do anything with that one as far as taking out a common factor. So we're just going to leave that one alone till we get to the next part. So now we're going to go ahead and factor the quadratic expressions that we have. There's still a 5 in front. If I put my 2 sets of parentheses, how should I factor that top one?
Okay, we're going to have a v and a v, and a negative and a negative, and a 7 and a 5.
Exactly. Negative 7 plus negative 5 is the negative 12 in the middle. On the bottom part, if we factor that one,
we're going to have V and a V, and a plus and a minus. Oh boy.
You can't factor
Positive?
that, but it's not going to work out right.
Oh.
It's not because we're not going to have anything we can cancel. Now I got to try to figure out what in the heck she was supposed to put there. I think it was supposed to be a 20. Let's make it a 20.
Okay.
Wonder if it'll let me type the 0 in there while without erasing everything. Now it's going to move my whole board.
So then we'd have a 10 and a 10. A
Nope.
positive 10 and a negative 10.
Nope, because that would be 0 in the middle. And 10 times 10 isn't 20. 10 times 10 is 100.
Oh, yeah. A 4 and 5.
A 4 and a 5. And which one goes where?
Well, we gotta have one left over, so we need the positive 5 and then minus 4.
And what do we want to have left over?
1V.
Minus?
Oh, a negative. We want a negative left over, so then we do have to have the positive 4 and the negative 5.
All right, so the reason I knew that wasn't going to work out right is because if we had factored it with a 2, I wouldn't have been able to cancel anything. And the whole point of this problem is that you can simplify your fraction.
Okay,
So now we can get rid of the v minus 5s. So 5 times v minus 7 over v plus 4. Going to be my answer. All the rest of them, they'll have that wrong problem on their paper. It won't work very well. All right, so the next one. What should we do first on that one?
the top one.
Okay, so what should we do with the top one?
Well, we're gonna have 6.
Take out our greatest common factor of 6.
And then we're gonna have a b squared minus 9.
Okay,
And the bottom one we can't do nothing with.
alrighty.
After the top one, we still keep our 6, and we go V, and a positive and a negative.
Hmm.
And we need to come up with a, so 4 and 5 again.
Multiple. You're doing what times what is 9?
Oh, okay, we're multiplying. 3 and 3.
3 and 3. Now, see, what are we trying to get in the middle? 0 v's, right?
Oh, okay.
So, because there's only 2 terms there, you notice they're missing the 0 or the v in the middle.
Right.
So we're going to have a plus 3 and a minus 3 because it's the difference of perfect squares, and that middle one's going to cancel out.
Okay.
So that's what happens when you only have the 2 terms that are the difference of squares, is you end up using the same number because then you can cancel out the middle term.
Okay.
On the bottom,
Factor. V. Last sign is negative, so we go a plus and a minus. And we go 4 and a 3.
plus 4 and a minus 3 give me a plus 1 in the middle, right?
Okay.
So again, you can see that we do have something in common, which you should. Otherwise, there's probably something wrong. And we're going to get 6 times v plus 3 over v plus 4 for our answer then. See, all those girls are missing out on the practice